Hello and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As always, thank you very much indeed for your time. Welcome to the Chatbox video podcast show. It's a new title coming for sure, my friend. A show today filled with education, comedy, real life questions, predominantly about neurodiversity. I'm absolutely thrilled and fascinated about what's to come. How are you, my friend? Are you all well?
Very well. Busy week, new year. And it just seems like everything has gone boom in a good way. Lots of going on, lots of great meetings, conversations happening, virtually and in the room face to face as well, which is great. It's great to kind of bounce back into a new year, feeling all kind of vibrant and ready to rock and roll. So yeah, good start to the week. Good start to the year as well.
That sounds very, very positive, mate. Very positive. I was reading this week that there's a day in Friday. I think it's the first Friday, a day in January. Good start, Nick. The first Friday in January is referred to as Divorce Day. It's the day that a load of couples, ridiculous number of couples, start exploring or filing for divorce. It seems to be January is divorce month now. Not surprising, the amount of pressures there are out there on couples. The article went on to say it's not so much that people have stopped loving each other, they've stopped communicating.
Right, okay. Talking, right? So that means Christmas Day, they were sitting there eating the turkey, texting other people. Or something.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if the technology is getting in the way of the way that they communicate. But I'll be fascinated to hear from lovely audience. As always, the show's for you. Get involved. The video side of the podcast is your opportunity to jump into the chat feature of wherever you can see us or hear us, and just comment. How is your communication going with your lovely partner? Right? Are you taking particular steps to make sure that you communicate, or are you, like far too many, just letting it slide? Did you have great conversations over Christmas dinner, or were you kind of obsessed with your technology? Tech-free dinner times seems to be the last bastion of communication. How does it look for you?
Do you think anyone's going to be really that honest and kind of put in there, well, look, my relationship's broken down, the technology's got in the way, I'm not playing charades on Christmas Day, I've been sitting there WhatsApping. I don't know. We'll see if we get any comments in the live show today. But if you are watching this on our catch-up series or through our podcast that's launching very, very soon, then you're not going to be able to give us that live feedback. But don't forget, we're here every Thursday morning doing the live show where you can join in, jump in, and share your feedback, comments. And we broadcast to all those famous social platforms from LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Not Twitch, because we've been banned from Twitch. Don't go there. We're not there any longer.
Too old, I think, wasn't it? You're too old for Twitch. You talk too much sense. Get off our platform. Good news, mate. I got a Christmas card yesterday.
Happy Christmas.
Either it's very late or it's very, very early. I'm not sure which. But if I ran a business, right, that my job was to get stuff to you let's say in time for Christmas, and it arrived 2 weeks later, I would say that business is in a spot of bother. Let us know, ladies and gents, if you're still receiving Christmas cards. It's the season that keeps on giving, clearly.
Of course, you're referring there to the Royal Mail. It's a little bit upside down and hickledy-pickledy at the moment because lots of strikes going on. But to top it all off, they've had a cyber security threat and issue. They won't say they've been compromised, but it is causing them all sorts of chaos. If you're looking to send anything abroad, parcels, leaflet, letters, etc., no longer. They can't handle it. They can't process it. So they're actually asking the public and businesses not to send anything that's going to have to go international because they've got no way of controlling it or dealing with it. So it doesn't look good for them at the moment, doesn't it? The Royal Mail, they're all on strike and they can't get your box, your parcel to its destination either.
They can't handle the post, it seems. The guy who delivers my posts, lovely fella. though. So, I think lovely people, but maybe the system is outdated, system is
Broken.
overloaded, system is underfunded. I don't know what the actual issues are. But I ordered something from Amazon the other day, and it's sitting here in the office. I think, well, it's business needs to evolve. I don't know what the future looks like for the Royal Mail and a host of other businesses that you and I, would have grown up kind of trusting and relying on. But everything changes. Well, even Amazon changes. Warehouses shut, people lose jobs, or people shift jobs. I think there's a shift coming on. It's uncertain times, but it's okay, because as long as we study maths to 18, I think we'll all be in good shape. Isn't that right?
Yeah, we have our story of the week, and this story I've picked up on is, does studying maths till 18 add up? Now, some of you may have already read this in the news, but Rishi Sunak, our Prime Minister at the moment, so I mean that could change at any day, as we know with this government, has laid out a range of pledges, and one of them is to make maths compulsory for all pupils in England up to the age of 18. He also goes on to say around 8 million adults in England have the numeracy skills of a primary school child, according to the government figures. So I can see there's a problem here, but I don't know if pushing maths for an extra couple of years up until the age of 18 is going to be an advantage. I think life skills are more important. For me, it should be things like, well, let's teach finances, okay, which I know is part of maths, but it's not the part that you get taught. I mean, algebra doesn't help you plan your day-to-day life. And I just think we should be, teaching our young adults how to manage their finances. What are mortgages, interest rates, the stuff that is going to, be super, super helpful. Give them some, guidance around technology, how to use it, when to use it. I think there's so much we learn every day to school day. I always use that. We're sponges. We're always, taking on information. But I think we should be giving them the best start in life absolutely possible. And I just don't know if an extra 2 years of maths is going to make a huge difference. First aid training. Surely saving a life is more important than being able to work out the angle of a triangle. I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong or not, because I probably am, but I don't think I am.
You think it's time that the whole education system had a bit of a revamp? I'm not sure who's brave enough to do that, because I'm not sure it's a vote winner. But education, certainly from where I'm coming from, I went to school like everybody else, learned a load of stuff, passed a load of exams. Okay, lucky me. Can I refer back to a load of the stuff that I learned? Of course not. The knowledge in theory wasn't important. The exams and the results were. And it seems like everything is focused on the end result, i.e. I've passed a load of exams, but not necessarily what knowledge have I acquired, because you carry on learning. Right. I wonder what a new brand, if you were starting, right, this is what education looks like in the UK, right, for a blank slate. I wonder what the curriculum would consist of, and what would, let's say, go by the wayside.
Interesting. I think that the education system does need some sort of reform. I think it is a little bit outdated, in a good way. I'm not saying what the teachers are doing. I think they do marvelous jobs. My youngest is at school, learning every day. It's amazing to see that journey unfold. But I do think it's a little bit outdated. The hours, the operational side of it, maybe some of the subject matter that we teach. How things are done. I think you're right, Nick. It's going to need a very brave person to come in and say, look, I think we should do X, Y, and Z. And of course, times have changed. The way people think, the way people communicate, the way people collaborate has changed. And we do have, because the show is all about neurodiversity and stuff like that, we've got an expert coming on to talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But we do now have neurodivergent and ADHD and autistic children to take into consideration, and young adults and older adults as well. So I think we as a society need to look at the way we have changed over the years. We've adapted, we've pivoted, we've probably kind of innovated as well. So maybe this is a great time to possibly welcome our first guest onto the show this morning and find out a little bit more. Maybe she can tell us if the education system needs reforming, but more importantly, to share with us a little bit more about being neurodivergent and some of the challenges that can face for others. So please welcome onto the show, been waiting very patiently backstage, our guest, ready to rock and roll here this morning. Please welcome Suzi Payton. Good morning, Suzi.
Hello, good morning.
Great.
Good morning, Suzi. Are you ready to rock and roll? Is this where we're going? It sounds exciting.
Yeah, rock and roll. Why not? I wasn't where we were going to rock and roll, but let's do it.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
So get us started. Let us know who you are. And clearly, David and I don't know enough about neurodiversity. We know some, but so we're here to be kind of educated. I've got loads of questions I want to ask. But first of all, kick us off. Let our lovely audience know who you are and a little bit of background, and then we'll fire some questions at you.
Sure. I'm Suzi Payton. I was diagnosed 10 years ago with ADHD, clinically significant autistic traits, there's a mouthful, mild Tourette's and mild OCD. So my background is education, so I was really interested in what you were saying, and yes, an overhaul would be good. And now I coach neurodivergent adults, mostly autistic and ADHD women, but not exclusively. I coach men as well, and non-binary and trans folk, I am a comedian. For over 10 years, I've been doing comedy improv, which is my passion, one of my passions. So as an ADHDer, I have many passions. Multi-passionate is what I am. And I teach comedy improv, perform it, teach it, love it. And I am a speaker/trainer as well. Helping organizations support their colleagues and their clients who have neurodivergence, so autism, ADHD, dyslexia, dyspraxia, and there are a few others that I have missed out. So do look up the spectrum.
Nick and I have had guests on in the past who have talked about neurodivergency and stuff like that. But for those that maybe are joining us for the first time, I'll be honest, probably about 18 months ago, even though I'd probably heard the word neurodivergent, did I really know what it meant? I don't think I did. I've learned a lot over the last couple of years now. But for those that are watching this, they're probably thinking, well, what does that really mean? Can you just give us a kind of an overview, what neurodivergent is and how it kind of fits in? And I know you mentioned some of those that fit within that spectrum, but what some of those mean to someone like yourself and other individuals?
Yeah, so basically, we're all human, right? We're all human, and every human on this planet is neurodiverse, which means our brains are all different because we're not robots. Yeah, so that's the beauty of being human, that we're neurodiverse. When people are kind of outside of what is considered, and the language here is a bit dodgy, the normal range. So that's when a person is neurodivergent. So if they're ADHD, dyslexic, dyspraxic, Tourette syndrome, I'm going to miss out some things. Please look it up. You're considered neurodivergent. Your brain is different. It's not less, it's different. But of course, a lot of people grow up feeling very, very different because they know they're different, but don't really know why. And then that can become a whole issue around self-esteem and confidence and so on. That's it in a nutshell.
Okay, so we're all different. I totally get that, and I think something to be celebrated. And then there's a certain number of people who, as you say, the language is well dodgy, classed outside of, let's say, a normal-ish bracket, whatever that looks like. So how does that work? How does that feel when your diagnosis came relatively late? So you've grown up, went through the whole lovely school system, not knowing why am I different? And then, so was that diagnosis a relief, or how when you were diagnosed, what did you feel about that?
Yeah. So yeah, growing up and going through the school system and massively underachieving, but also being really good at some things. I was always really good at sport, pretty good at English, but maths was a real struggle for me. I just couldn't get it. And then I was just sat with a stupid leaflet to work on. So never taught the foundations. So I probably well, I know I am kind of at the level of a primary school child, although I've been a teacher and everything. I did get my GCSE, but can I remember it? Probably not. So yeah, grew up with really kind of skewed self-image. Like, how can I be so good at some things and so terrible at other things? So that really impacted my self-esteem. So I didn't act out, I didn't speak out, I just internalized it all and thought there's something wrong with me, I'm stupid, which is heartbreaking now, you know, that I used to think that, because clearly I'm not. But and confidence and self-doubt. And then what happens is the inner critic takes over and says, well, you must be stupid because you can't do simple tasks like basic maths, basic addition, getting your, you know, remembering your PE kit, or getting homework. I never did homework, and it was never picked up. I think because I was bright, and could be charming, so it was kind of overlooked, you know.
Do you think or hope in today's world that would not get overlooked? It would now get picked up very quickly, and you know, through teaching staff, potentially through parents. But I think it's going to be more likely it's going to happen in an environment where the parents are not seeing it day to day, because they are seeing it day to day, but they become very used to it. But in like school, for example, do you think that should be picked up much quicker now, where it wasn't when you were younger?
Not again, but it's really it just depends. Some school staff are on it and they know it, you know, and they're really educated and aware. And unfortunately, others haven't really got a clue. The thing with ADHD is the stereotype is the 8-year-old boy running around, causing havoc, not sitting still. So that's what people, you know, lots of people still think ADHD is. GPs think, not all GPs, but it's like across society. So a girl that's a bit chatty or a bit daydreamy, not causing a problem, kind of getting by, not achieving their potential, but getting by, will get missed. And sadly, they still do. So that's why a lot of my work is about education and getting into places and telling people, you know, what it really is and how it can be. So last night, I'm doing a play, a musical theatre play, and it's a brand new thing for me. And I got really I nearly cried during rehearsal. And I'll tell you why, because I've done so much inner work over the last 2 years and undone so much of the damage in terms of the way I learn, how frustrated I get, how stupid I feel. I don't feel any of that now. And looking back, I'm very sad for how that manifested for my whole life. But grateful where I am now, you know.
Must have been a kind of a shock on one hand, and then potentially a relief on the other, saying, "Oh, that's why." I know it fascinated me to say that you, growing up, you were lacking in confidence, and now you're happy to do improv, which, you know, there's no script. Right, just get on stage and get on with that, Suzi, or stand-up comedy, which I've done a tiny bit of. Probably the most petrifying thing most listeners could even contemplate.
Yeah,
that's a shift, right? Is that just hard work, or is that thanks to the diagnosis? What happened there?
Well, when I started the comedy, I don't think I had a diagnosis. I had suspicions. I researched it all for about 5 years. That's how full of self-doubt and imposter syndrome I was. Like, yes, this is me totally. And then, no, I'm fine. Look at me. I've got a job. And a lot of people go through this. So 5 years I took to research. And so my autistic side was like all about the research, you know. So what was the question? ADHD, this happens a lot.
Yeah, well, no problem at all. I'll remind myself as well what the question was. It was more of an observation, really, going from a lack of confidence growing up to having the courage to then get on stage, do improv and stand-up comedy, which blooming scary. How did you manage that transition from lack of confidence to give me that microphone?
Yeah, so although I've had the lack of confidence, I've covered it up very well. And when I started improv and stand up over 10 years ago, I was still lacking in confidence, but covering up and with this urge, like this, because with the ADHD, as well as me and my personality, it's all interlinked. I have this kind of sensation seeking need, whether that's doing a bungee jump, whether that's putting myself in terrifying situations. It's the adrenaline, the buzz. So with stand up, as you probably remember, there's quite a lot of adrenaline flooding around your system. I mean, it's bonkers.
The adrenaline of being possibly heckled from the back of the room, I'd imagine, is one of those. I've never done, I mean, I'm a confident speaker from stage, but I don't know if I would ever want to do live a comedy, because I probably, like many, would probably think, I'm not going to make anyone laugh or smile. So it's a very different delivery, and congratulations on that path. But I want to pick up on this, your biggest achievement to date. For all of us, we all have achievements that we've, maybe won an award or something like that over the years, but this is absolutely topping the top. I've just been named as one of the UK's most inspirational and dynamic female entrepreneurs by F Entrepreneur, one of 100 dedicated inspirational women in business. That is worth a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely, congratulations on that. Just tell us a little bit more about that. What did that mean to you? And you say recent, so is this something that's just happened in the last few weeks or last few months?
Yeah, no, literally the list came out about a week ago, maybe a bit more. And I knew only about a couple of weeks before, but I wasn't allowed to say anything. And this has just been amazing, really. It's kind of really highlighted how far I've come in the last 2 years. I started my business 2 years ago during the pandemic. And I think this year I've just got a great feeling about this year. So to be on this list of 100 amazing women, and it's really a lot, the list is a lot about inclusion this year. And it's just wonderful to see. And I'm so pleased I'm going to the House of Lords on the 8th for International Women's Day. So it's just great. And I can't wait to see what happens as a result. Amazing.
It's lovely to get recognition, isn't it, for hard work. And so you say on the lovely form that you filled in to say this is who I am, that you are a passionate trailblazer, right? So you've got something to say, you've got something to share, and there'll be a lot of people either watching or listening thinking, you know what, I'm inspired, I could do something. And it's lovely to have some recognition, wherever that comes from. It could be clients, it could be a body that says, yeah, you're in the top 100. And from a confidence point of view, from a business point of view, this is all good. What does it actually do for Suzi, though, when you wake up, right? When you woke up this morning, or when you approach saying, right, I've never done this play, this theatre adventure before. What does that recognition do for you and for your clients?
Well, what does it do for me and my clients? It just kind of helps me realize that I am a capable, inspiring person, and I care so much about helping other neurodivergent people who maybe are suspecting or even don't even know about neurodivergence and just struggle and struggle and struggle. So to be in this position, to be on this list, to have a platform means everything to me.
No, absolutely. We're running out of time. That clock is ticking down very, very quickly. But I must find out a top tip. It doesn't have to be a business tip, but anything that if you could go back in time and teach your younger self or tell your younger self, or in the capacity where you're training or working with others, if you could give them one of Suzi's top tips, what would that be? Nick's got his pen ready to start smoking.
So, yeah, I've got a few, but the one that really, really stands out is do whatever you're doing, studying, working, doing your own business, make sure it's something that lights you up and brings you joy, because especially with ADHD, we can be so good at so many things. So there's this thought of, well, I can do it, so I'll do it. But no, that's, I was a teacher for 17 years because I thought, well, I'm a teacher, that's what I do. Oh my gosh, how many burnouts, So now I'm doing what I love and what brings me joy. I'm in alignment with my path. So when I'm coaching people, I always get them to really think about what they love and what brings them joy. So that's my tip.
That's a great tip. Do things that bring you joy. That's that works in business. That works in life. We started the show with the bleak news that January is divorce month. If you're in a relationship that no longer brings you joy, then something needs to change. There's not go out down the street. There's not enough joy, it seems, out there. Doom and gloom, plenty of that. Not enough joy. That's a very solid top tip. Thank you, Suzi. I wanted to ask before you disappear, you're a big reader, you love Stephen King. What's your favorite Stephen King novel?
I'm gonna say It.
Ooh, did the films compare? Were they okay?
I love the films as well. I really love the new films, definitely. Yeah,
and I enjoyed them actually. I haven't read the books, so I can't compare. But I did enjoy the films. They were edge of the seat stuff. Peering behind the cushion at times. Lastly, Suzi, if people want to find out more about you, get in touch with you, learn more about what you do, maybe come along to one of your comedy nights or something like that, or when you're putting that on, how can people reach out and get in touch? A little bit of help here, but hopefully the website.
Yeah, there you go. That's the best place. I am on all social media platforms, but if you want to get in touch, reach out, have a chat. I'm always happy for a chat. Just booking a call on my website at suzipayton.com. Love meeting new people. So yeah, get in touch. And I'm available for speaking and training. So get in touch.
There we go. So SuziPayton.com is where to go if you want to find out more about Suzi. Get in touch with her, and she will be happy to have a conversation with you. Suzi, it's been great having you on the show. Thank you so much for giving up some of your time to come on here and bring us up to speed on what's happening in the world, in the neurodivergent world. So thank you very much once again.
Thanks a lot.
See you soon, Suzi. Fantastic, Nick. Lovely to hear people's stories from, sometimes we get stories on here that kind of, in a way, very personal. And it's just really nice to hear those personal stories and hear their journey and stuff like that. And Suzi's is one of those, which is a personal journey that she's been happy to share, which I'm sure will resonate with many other people.
As always, there's never enough time really to kind of explore the subject in full. I highly advise if you're out there and think, oh, that was interesting, look Suzi up, book her for a talk, have a chat, book her for some training, spend some time in her lovely company. It's one of the things I absolutely love about this show. Right? It's predominantly all about conversation. Right? We are the home of conversation. You never know when that conversation's where it's going to go. But we seem to, in today's very busy, overly digital world, lack that opportunity to have a proper chat. Right? Proper chat. Pull up a chair, grab a cuppa, and have a proper conversation. And there's massive value in it. What a lovely way to start the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Next week is going to be a very, very interesting show. You talk about conversation. We are always live and unscripted when we deliver all our content. But next week, we've got a special show, and it's called Ask Dave and Nick Anything You Like. So the way this is going to work is that you can drop us an email in advance. You can just drop us an email at hello@chatboxproductions.com. You can go to any of our social platforms and DM us, send us a direct message, or you can comment on any of these feeds. a question that you want to put to Nick and I next week. Now, Nick and I are going to be oracles next week. We're going to do our best to answer all those questions. We can't promise you they're going to be the right answers either, but we're going to have a really good go at answering your questions. So do join us for that. It's going to be super exciting. Next show next week, and see how Nick and I do with answering your top questions. Looking forward to that, Nick. Are you prepared? Are you going to be reading your encyclopedias, prepping in advance?
No prep required. Live and unscripted. Ask absolutely anything you want. It could be factual, it could be personal, absolutely anything. I'm going to have a few things I'm going to ask you, mate, that you won't know. That no plan, right? You won't know it's coming. I will have, by the time we meet next week, a couple of questions to ask you that you will not see coming. So it's gonna be fascinating. It's what a lovely conversation that in theory could be a disaster though.
It could be. It absolutely could be. But that's what Live and Unscripted is about. Anyway, there we are. So we're back here next Thursday morning from 8 o'clock. Tune in for the Live and Unscripted Ask Us Anything show, where Nick and I will be in the hot seats answering your questions. Thank you very much once again to Suzi Payton for joining us on the show this morning. Until next week, it's bye-bye from me.
And cheerio from me.